Big news. Dustin Poirier versus Tony Ferguson. That's a big fight. Big fight, interesting fight, fun fight. Little bit surprised we've yet to see that fight. Now, when I say big, it sure has the potential to be if we are to take Khabib at his word. Now, the bad news with doing that is Khabib is a fighter and no fighter has a say over who other fighters face. That's something they did in boxing. That's something that we have fiercely made sure to stay away from within the sport of mixed martial arts. But to act as though a fighter doesn't have a participation in that, as though he doesn't get to offer his thoughts and opinion, and within the pie, they do have a place somewhere. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that Khabib came out a week ago and said, I got no problem fighting Conor McGregor. All Conor McGregor has to do is go beat Dustin. You beat Dustin, I'll fight you. As a matter of fact, same thing goes for Tony. Tony, you want to fight me? Just go beat Dustin. You beat Dustin, I'll fight you. As a matter of fact, anybody who fights Dustin Poirier and beats him, I'll get in there with. So Dustin, get busy. You're going to keep fighting until somebody beats you, and then I'm going to go fight that guy. Okay. I found that very interesting. I found it interesting only because generally when you see a guy start to put parameters on who he will face, when a champion does this, it's very off-putting because the champion is following the golden rule of I want the biggest paycheck in front of the largest crowd against the easiest opponent, and I'm going to do anything I can to get that, while playing the audience to a fool and acting as though that's not what I'm going to do. Well, this was totally different when Khabib did it. Khabib put 3 studs together. He just said, one of you got to beat Dustin. It looks to, I got something else going over here with Gaethje. I might have something else going on with George St-Pierre. But in the meanwhile, if you want to sort it out and you want my blessing on it, somebody go beat Dustin. If that's true, if we're to believe that that information is true, then it is something very interesting. I mean, it does in many ways bring us not only one step closer to the 6th potential booking of Khabib versus Ferguson, but it also does leave you wondering, where does Conor McGregor go? And the plan of Conor McGregor has never changed, as I've heard, from that of the plan put forward by the office, which is Conor's next fight is going to be Khabib. That has never changed, no matter how much we thought, they can't mean that. I mean, even before the pandemic hit, back in January 20th, we had Conor Mania. It was known as Conor versus Cowboy. As soon as that press conference, we were told Conor is going to be put on ice until Khabib is available. Well, Khabib wasn't even scheduled to fight Tony until May 18th. Then, of course, again, the situation happens and that can gets pushed. Take Khabib out because of travel issues, put Justin Gaethje. I mean, all of a sudden, the division looks completely different. You're now hearing Conor McGregor retired. Oh, by the way, George St-Pierre might have unretired. I mean, everything happens so incredibly quickly. It's all up in the air. Who knows what's going to happen? But even if you want to play this with clinging to things that you were told on the evening of January 20th, which means Conor is still next for Khabib, that's a harder and harder one to buy. It's a harder and harder one to get excited for if all we're going to see Conor do in between his fight with Cowboy and his fight with Khabib is absolutely nothing. I mean, that's a tough one to put Conor or any other great athlete in. Hey, going to give you the hardest fight of your life. We know it's the hardest fight because it's with the same guy who gave you your hardest fight. And in between now and then and now, you're going to do nothing. But guess what he's going to get to do? He's going to get into 2 different training camps and go and practice his craft against 2 different opponents. Sound fair? Where do we sign? I mean, you see the problem? Even as fans who would really like to see Khabib versus Conor, there still has to be a level part of us where we can go, yeah, but it's even. He got a training camp. He got a training camp. He got 2 fights in between. He had 1 fight in between. Close enough. Close enough. Let's go. It's starting to get further and further out there, which makes us wonder, maybe the gamesmanship, there isn't gamesmanship. Maybe this is just straight up what it is. Conor's done. Conor said he was done. Why are we challenging that? Well, I'm challenging it because he said it before and he hasn't removed himself from the USADA pool. I have no other information than that, but that's why I challenge it. Why are we challenging when John Jones says he's done? He let the title go. Okay. I mean, that's a big piece of evidence, but he did stay in the USADA pool. So I'm not quite ready, but at the same time, maybe there isn't the gamesmanship going on. Maybe things for the first time ever are clearer than they appear to be. I can't think of a time in this sport where you're told something and you don't automatically go, oh, I bet it's really over here. Well, they said it's up here. I should probably look down here. And you would usually be right. You could use the detective skills of a 5-year-old and usually be going in the right direction in MMA. But right now does not appear to be that time. Just looking at the pieces that we have right now. I mean, first off, awesome. Poirier versus Ferguson, awesome. Little surprised it hasn't happened. As that fight gets closer, I think we're going to have a real fun time getting into the X's and O's of that dogfight. But they're fighting for a reason. That a reason appears to be to draw into Khabib, who appears to be trying to get George St-Pierre, who appears to be training and losing weight for something, but we've been told that Conor's next fight would be for the championship. We're a little bit confused right now. Here's the good news. Here's the good news for anybody that just got lost on MMA geometry right there. Of all the possible ideas, St-Pierre out here, what happens with Gaethje? He takes on Ferguson. What's Conor really doing? We like them all. I mean, in fairness, right? Every single one of those ideas and what ifs and how about we go, okay. We like them all. That's the only part of this that will leave us from being a little bit pissed off.